We're echoing again.
Dan.
I don't give
Meh.
a... No, it's not my fault. Stop it.
It's your
It's
fault.
you that echoes.
I don't care. It's not my fault that my internet's shite. I live out here in the
What's
sticks.
to do with your internet? For your echo?
It's to do with your headset.
Fuck you. I paid €80 for this.
Yes, you've got your volume too high on your earphone, which is echoing through your mic.
But I can't turn it down. I don't have a thingamajig on it.
So then you paid far too much for
You
your headset.
paid €80 for it.
It was
I
marked
paid
up.
€80 for this headset. It hasn't even got a volume button.
It does when it's plugged into the Xbox.
That doesn't make sense.
What have you got it plugged into?
I'm
The
so
iPad.
confused.
Well, then turn your iPad volume down.
Oh.
Come on, Daniel.
And luckily we have recorded Fail of the Week.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Dan, the non-geek.
Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks and Gamers. This is podcast number 4, and it's that time of the week when we all get together and talk about what we've been playing, watching, and things that we just generally don't agree with. So to kick us off this week, as has been the last couple of weeks, what's everyone been playing this week? I'm going to throw it over to you, Paul. What have you been playing?
Most of the time I've actually played, split between 2 games, Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Destiny. Although I feel that whole, with Destiny slowing down a bit, I've got the sort of top gear for one of my characters, I'm just waiting on doing a raid, so it's that kind of lull period again. But Amazing Spider-Man seems to be really fun. It's just sort of action, mindless beat 'em up. You get to run about as Spider-Man, swing webs, and it's offline, so you can just pause it whenever you want and not worry about other people trying to kill you.
And you like it because it's open world as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's another sandbox game.
Have you been going around collecting all the costumes?
I've only been doing sort of the main stories and buying the comics to begin with.
Yeah, I played Spider-Man a few months ago, and it was alright for about the first sort of 3 hours. And it just got tedious, jumping on the same robber's car and pulling the hostage out and then slinging it up somewhere, and it gets tedious.
Yeah, I've noticed that the sort of animation sequences and things like that are repetitive, but with the sort of age of the game, the variance of what you've done previously, you could even say same thing sort of happens in Batman as well.
And you got it for £9. So
yes, I got it for £9 from Asda, so there's no complaints really from myself from it.
I think I'd have to agree with the Batman comment, because if I'm honest, I completed Arkham Asylum, and it took me probably 2 years to even get around to attempting Arkham City. I did finish it, but I wouldn't say it was enjoyable as Arkham Asylum, because that was fun, it was fresh, and I still haven't got around to doing the latest one.
No,
What about Arkham Origins?
I did play that on the PS3. I got to the point where you had to go to the ship to meet Penguin and went, this is just the same crap again, so I gave up.
No, the story's quite good in Arkham Origins, and it's amazing in Arkham Knight. If you just plow on through, you'll find some pretty interesting
see,
stuff.
when you're saying words like just plow on, just stick with it, then that's already lost quite a few people.
Well, I really enjoy it myself personally, so yeah.
You will do. I've played all the Batman games, but they are very repetitive in action motions and things like that with what you're doing.
Not the same thing in Arkham Knight.
I can't comment. I've not played it. So.
Okay, so let's move on. Who else has been playing what this week?
I've only really had time for Halo. It's been work, home, tea, bit of gaming, and so it's been Halo, because I've enjoyed the lot of us getting together and doing Action Sack and all that sort of stuff. So that's all I've managed to do. I've had a few things on this week and it's been kind of tiring. So
I've been playing a few games, mainly the Battlefront beta, which I think we're going to discuss in a little while anyway. Assassin's Creed 4, which I still bloody love. I'm going through it again, getting ready for Syndicate. And finally, the oddball of the group, a game I haven't played in quite a few years, Splinter Cell Conviction, which I actually quite enjoy. It's probably the easiest Splinter Cell game to get into.
Scott, what have you been playing this week?
Sorry, I was actually talking away there, but I was on mute.
Yeah.
I've kind of been split between three this week. So, like Dan, I downloaded the Battlefront beta a couple of days ago, and I've been having the odd go at it. I've only really sat down and played it in earnest today. I completed Assassin's Creed Unity this week, again getting ready for Syndicate, and yeah, it's taken me probably about 2 months.
Do you have any troubles with achievements in Unity?
The game's too big.
It does. It feels really big. I haven't been chasing achievements per se. I've gone through it, completed the story, completed all the side missions, spent far too many hours chasing chests and cockades and nomad points, artifacts. Again, it gets quite tedious. I'm aware that's something
I love that sort of stuff, though. That's my thing.
I enjoy it when they're challenging, and if you have to fight people off to get through to the particular lock chests, for example. I like the challenge with some of them, but sometimes it just feels like you're ticking things off a list, and that bores me after a point. And I guess finally, I downloaded it last month but never got around to playing it, so I've been playing the Tomb Raider Definitive. Is it the Definitive? The one that was available last month on Xbox Gold. So I've been playing through that today and yesterday and thoroughly enjoying it.
Very good.
I'm sure Grady would support your choice there if he was with us.
Yeah, I've tried giving, obviously, Tomb Raider a go recently. I wouldn't say I've played it in the last week, but I've certainly tried giving it a go again recently, and actually it's not too bad. So, I'll get around to completing that at some point. But yeah, as a few of you have said, well, I say a few, a couple of you, obviously we've tried out the Star Wars Battlefront beta this week. Well, weekend more so. What are your guys' thoughts? I'll kick off with you, Dan, because you've been quite positive. So.
Okay. I've really enjoyed it, actually. I think it's quite clean. It's easy to get into. It's not like, there's no difficulty curve at the beginning where you can't play because there's a bunch of other people that are at a higher level than you. Personally, my favorite experience has to be, well, you probably guessed it, the Walker assault mode. I really enjoyed the open, the big open map they have given us to play on half. Flying around in the vehicles, playing as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, and messing around with the different customization options and the different weapons. Yeah, it's been pretty fun. If I had one gripe for the game, though, I'd probably have to say it's the partner system. It's basically where if someone on your team has all the best equipment and gear unlocked, you can select to use their custom loadout while they at the same time as they use it, and it basically leads to a bit of unbalancing in my experience. I don't think it's a good feature. I think we should have to work for our customization options, not just get our buddies ones. How about you, Scott? What did you think of it?
Unbalanced is certainly one criticism I'd level at it. Sometimes when I was playing it, I was finding I was getting 38 kills, 2 deaths. It was really incredibly easy, and I didn't feel challenged. And then other times I'd go back in and struggle to get a kill. So I don't know if the balancing thing is perhaps just off because it's the beta.
Yeah, perhaps.
Environmentally, I think it looks stunning. I think certainly in terms of visuals, it's a very impressive game. I'm disinclined to pick it up because I don't like games that don't have campaign stories behind them. Online mode bores me after a point. It's why I hated Titanfall initially. Granted, I got into it, but I've lost love for that again. What else? Yeah, I keep finding things about it that I do like. I don't mean to beat up on it so much. I was pleasantly surprised when I started playing it. But it's probably not one I'll pick up on day one release purely because it's just multiplayer only.
Yeah, it kind of detracts from the game's value if it's multiplayer only.
Yeah, I'll correct myself there. Actually, it's not multiplayer only. There is a sort of single player option where you can do the waves, the survival type things. But what I mean is there's no story attached as you work your way through in a linear manner. It's yeah.
Okay. Obviously, my thoughts. I think it's good, and I'm looking forward to its full release. As Dan said, and you guys, it's clean, it's very crisp, it feels nice. Again, though, it is essentially a reskinned Battlefield.
I'd
But they've
agree
done
with
it
that.
well. They've done it very well. I think that the game modes that you're given in the beta are good. It gives you a mix of the smaller team base and obviously the large scale battles. It also gives you a taste at the hero side of things. I don't know if any of you guys have had a chance to be the hero yet, but I've played as Vader, and actually it's quite satisfying just force choking a group of people. It's great fun. But generally, yeah, I think it's a good start, and if they improve from the beta and when the full game's released, it will be fantastic. I mean, the partner system that you were on about, Dan, actually, one of the things I thought that was a good idea.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I thought that was a good idea because it gives you a chance to play with things that are a higher level before you get there. Then you can customize yours on the route there.
I think it should only be open in like a private match with friends. I don't think it should be opened to, big online multiplayer games.
Is it any different to like say the old Call of Duties though, where you could pick up the advanced weapons that like higher level players dropped and then get a shot of them before you actually unlock them yourself?
Well, I suppose you could say that, but really with this, it kind of gives it to you straight up. No need to go and pick anything up. It's just there for you to play with, and it's basically, it makes it a case of, if you've got the friends with the big guns, then you're going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean it works. In essence, one gripe I have got though with the game is the fact that you can't seem to party up with your friends. You can snap a party on the Xbox, but when you try and get another mate in to play with, co-op or whether that be online, me and obviously one of the other guys, Grady, you guys obviously know him, but for people who don't, he's one of the other guys that does the podcast with us. We tried jumping in together unsuccessfully, probably close to 10, 11 times. It just wasn't working. The party feature on it just wasn't working. So that's one gripe I have got.
Just the beta, though?
It could
I
be.
got it
It could
working.
be.
I was playing with my dad a few times.
So in essence, then it works. It could just be because me and Grady are both on the new user interface.
Could it be that you were playing with your dad on the same console, though, Dan?
No, we had 2 different consoles.
Oh, right, okay, so it's maybe it is the new user interface then, like you said, because party chat's been not party chat, party itself has been a bit of a problem, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, the party chat's been awful. We get kicked out left, right, and centre. I mean, for me, it works. Has anyone else got anything to sort of add to Battlefield before we move on?
Honestly, I don't like it. I've played it a few times. I've played the pod drop match. Hang on, who's echoing? I've done it. It just seems like, apart from seeing the sort of heroes on the field, it just seems very, very generic. There doesn't seem to be anything of excitement. Like currently, I'm having a shot of it at the moment, and I'm in one of the AT-ATs, and yeah, I'm just going about killing everyone. There isn't that challenge. It's good to be. I will say though, graphically, it is really, really well done. But
do you think they do a good job of capturing the film?
No.
Okay.
But that's primarily because I'm not the greatest fan of Star Wars, and also you don't have or I've not seen yet anyway, the sort of fighters going around and tying up one of the AT-ATs and down. So
I tried getting that to work and it just never works for me. It just keeps zooming
I
off.
got it to work. Feels great. You just have to hold your right stick in the right position and you just wrap around it. It's great.
Yeah, I tried it, but it didn't really work.
Yeah, it's a bit temperamental.
It could be a possibility that I've not played it in a party with you guys or what, but it just seems meh is the best way to describe it.
I do have to say the jetpack in it is bloody amazing. I love the way it carries you over that far a distance.
Yeah, the jetpack's good fun. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it's quite fun trying to pick somebody out of the air whilst they're using it. That's good fun. But I mean, if there's nothing anyone else wants to add, I'm gonna pass it over to Paul to introduce the next section. Biggun's calling me, so yeah, he's screaming. So Paul, take over. I'll jump in when I get back.
Yeah, no problem. What was our next topic?
What we've been watching.
What we've been watching. So I know that we've been very, very eager for this week to come along for most of the group with Flash and Arrow starting. There seem to be quite a bit of mixed opinions with the episodes themselves, and I know that a couple of people have been watching other things because they're not that big of fans of these.
This guy.
So,
me.
yeah. So, in fact, Eleanor, why don't you kick us off with something different? Because I know that Luke will want to talk about Flash and Arrow.
Okay, fair enough. So, you know me, I like my soaps. Been keeping up to date with the good old Coronation Street in Emmerdale. However, I've been getting very frustrated this week because the rugby or the football or whatever has been interrupting my recordings so that they've just not been recording, because obviously they just don't happen when it's a rugby or
Ireland
football
won,
night.
yay.
So that's annoyed me. But it's not the only thing I've been watching. A while ago, when it was on Sky One, we recorded The Last Ship. Just stacked up all the recordings, so I'm getting through it in a oneer just now. And I'd forgotten how much I liked this show. I watched the first season. It was right up my street. Post-apocalyptic world. Virus has killed a load of the population. Who survives? It's a bit different. It's a bit new because it's a Navy ship that had no idea what was going on. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, the world's dead. Oh no. But yeah, season 2 kicked off with a bang. I was gripping onto the edge of my seat. There was some tense moments. I was worried for my favourite characters, but yeah, it's plodding along nicely, and I can't wait to see how they finish it this season.
How do you think the season will this be the sort of final season that they go with it?
No,
or
I reckon they'll be able to get some more out of it. It's a pretty decent TV show. It wasn't like, I mean, those of us who watched Hannibal for season 3 will know that was dragging. It was difficult to watch. I mean, it took me a good while to finish that off. I think I probably finished that off this week as well, actually. But yeah.
No, that was the previous week.
Oh, was it the week before? Right. Yeah. That was difficult to watch. You could tell that was coming to an end. I'm happy to keep watching The Last Ship. There's nothing that's stopping me from watching it other than my own free time. But yeah, it's good. I'd recommend it to people if they've not seen it yet.
Nice. Dan, what about yourself? What have you been watching?
Well, I'm not the greatest fan of Arrow and Flash, even though I'm a big fan of Batman, but that's another talk for another day. I've been watching Doctor Who over the past few weeks, season 9. I've been enjoying it, but I have noticed one gripe I'd have against the season 9. The storylines, they're a bit generic and they're kind of copying what's been done before. For example, this week we had one where a group of people get locked into the room with the Doctor and they slowly start getting picked off by a monster. Anyone seen that one before? Forest of the Night. But anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Next week's episode, Maisie Williams is coming in as a Viking, so it should be pretty exciting. I'd like to see what she brings to Doctor Who.
Okay. And apart from Doctor, have you been watching anything else?
I did see Pixels, the Adam Sandler movie. Wasn't very impressed with that. I like the little video game references, but other than that, it's just a crappy Adam Sandler comedy.
Okay. And Scott, what about yourself?
All the things. I've been watching all the things.
All the
things.
All the things.
They're all mine.
So we'll get to Arrow and Flash later. Obviously, I'm a huge Heroes Reborn fan, so I've been continuing with that. Season 5, episode 4. Well, actually, technically, I guess it's season 1 since they've rebranded it. Anyway, whatever. So episode 4 was broadcast in the States this week. So I've caught up with that. Thoroughly enjoying it now. I'm managing to get into it. We've kind of learned a bit more about each of the characters. The storyline's starting to build. There's a nice mix of old and new coming in. Yeah, thoroughly enjoying that. What else? So my wife and I are both massive fans of Castle, so we've been catching up with season 8? Season 8 of Castle that's broadcasting at the moment. So 2 episodes down into that. One of my favourite shows, Blue Bloods, returned 3 weeks ago now, so I caught up with that earlier on as well. Detective show based in New York around the sort of, I guess they're a kind of Irish Catholic family, traditional fleece blue family. Thoroughly enjoying that as well. I felt the last season that was a bit kind of meh, but it's starting to pick up again, so enjoyed that. What else? There was one more thing I was going to mention. Yeah, I started watching Sons of Anarchy. So many people recommended that I start watching Sons of Anarchy for something new. I watched Narcos previously and finished that. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I recommended it the last time round. It's sort of round about the life of Pablo Escobar.
The drug
It's
smuggler.
Yeah, so a lot of it is in Spanish and subtitled, but if you've got Netflix, I'd definitely recommend it. Great story. But yeah, I was looking for something to watch, haven't finished that, and a couple of people said, check out Sons of Anarchy. I think I got through about 5 episodes this afternoon alone. Yeah, it's just excellent TV, so thoroughly enjoying that at the minute as well.
Nice. I'm trying to think of what I've actually been watching. Have I watched actually much TV, Elanor? Oh, in fact, what I did catch was the first 2 episodes of season 3 of Agents of Shield, which started off actually really well.
That's not got a release date for the UK yet, has it?
No, that's still not got a release date for the UK at the moment. Don't know when. It's been on Channel 4 previously. Whether or not Channel 4 are keeping it, I don't know. I've not seen anything as yet. So I decided I'm going to watch it. And then, after starting watching it, I then caught the news article of
Inhumans.
Kevin Feige and Ike, I can't remember his surname, but basically the head of Marvel Entertainment and Marvel Studios. They basically have been having, or rumoured to be having, words about what's been going on. By watching what's been going on in sort of the end of season 2 with Agents of Shield and the start of season 3, it is the start of Inhumans. Yes, you don't have the main characters of the comics, so like Black Bolt and things like that, but it is just Inhumans. There's no other thing about it. They've started off. There isn't really, unless they're going to string out 4 more seasons of telling you the backstory of how the Inhumans started coming about again on Earth. They have to get rid of the film because that's what they're doing, and then that, I suppose, that could then pave the way for the actual main characters to come into the TV show. Since we've got things like Daredevil, Jessica Jones starting, why not have the Inhumans on TV? And then if you're wanting to do a big mashup film, pull everybody into the one thing. It'd probably be far too big and things like that, but
put them into Infinity War. It's meant to be a massive global war anyway.
Well, based on what is possible happening, in fact, I won't mention anything about what's happening in Infinity War, but it would make sense for TV and film to merge. I'll just leave that at that. Scott, give us your thoughts and feelings on Arrow to begin with.
I like Damien Dark. I think he's going to be a pretty good enemy. I like the guy that plays him. I've seen him in a few things before. I think he's a really good actor and probably a good fit. I'm then running out of positive things to say about it, and I say that as someone that was definitely a big Arrow fan for the past 3 seasons. Firstly, I don't like Diggle's uniform. As soon as I seen it, I just thought Magneto. It's the Magneto helmet.
As an outsider listening to that comment there, I was like, you don't like his clothing? What's wrong with that? It's a bit, surely there's other things you can dislike.
Yeah, I'll start with the small things. So I didn't like that. I didn't like the new Arrow suit either, actually, if I'm being totally honest. I get that it's more close to the comic. I understand that, but it doesn't do much for me. I thought it was really badly acted by 2 or 3 people, and it surprises me because they've been some of the better, people in the seasons the past few years. I really didn't like Thea. I just felt that the tone of the character was completely off. I get that she underwent massive changes character-wise at the end of last season, but to me, it just, something didn't feel quite right. I'm still struggling to put my finger on it.
She was too peppy.
A wee bit. I also felt that some of the dialogue was really, really cheesy. And again, it's not something I've really noticed in the past few seasons. And I guess finally, without wishing to spoil particularly what it was, it finished on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I didn't like what it suggested. And if what I expect pans out, I will probably stop watching the show. And I'll say no more at this point.
I can kind of see where you come from. I know that with the stated within the sort of writing for Arrow, that they were trying to do tonally, they were trying to make it more in line with Flash. Flash has always been upbeat, even in the sort of serious nods that they've been having. But I think they didn't pull it off quite right, because you've went from one extreme to the other.
I guess that's a good way of looking at it, because there were a few points where they tried to build up a sort of serious plot point that was underpinned by action, and then immediately it flipped to humour. And I found myself thinking, there's no time to process what's going on here. You're trying to make light of it effectively. So yeah, that's maybe a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. Basically, they said that I'd read Stephen Amell's sort of posts on Facebook and things like that, and it was going along the lines of, we're going to try and come in line with Flash, but I think your first episode of the new season shouldn't be that point. There should be a bit more lighter tone to it, but gradually build that over the season, not just shove it in your face, because I got that with Thea. I really enjoyed Arrow. It was just when you had the shots of Thea, she was too way when she had been such a depressed character during the season 3.
Yeah.
And she was angry and things like that, and she died and stuff. So you're going, hang on, you've been in the Lazarus pit. I know I've just used a spoiler there.
I managed to avoid it.
Yeah.
Hang on, Lazarus Pit. You talking about Ra's al Ghul?
Yes. So it was basically she was that dark character, and you should have ramifications from that.
I think out of the two shows, that was one of the things that I really liked about Arrow. It was a bit darker. I mean, in terms of dark, it wasn't Hannibal, it wasn't Dexter, but it was a lot darker.
Not my kind of show then. You didn't see what I watched today with the preview for the American Horror Story Hotel.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was awful.
But carry on,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's part of the reason that I quite like the new Batman ones as well. I felt they were a bit darker, a bit grittier, and I think DC have sort of been pushing that boundary, being a bit grittier lately, and I liked Arrow for that. And to be honest, last season I didn't like Flash as much, and I think it was because it was a bit more bubbly, a bit happier, and granted it was still a pretty grim story.
Well, as it pans out, yeah, the later half of the season was better, and I would have said the later half of the season was darker. There was less humour.
I'd agree with that.
And I felt it was. I really enjoyed the second half of the first season, which kind of leads us nicely into Flash. I know that Steph.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay.
I'm back. I've been waiting for you to bite your tongue so I could jump in. Let's not go speeding off here.
Go.
Arrow. Or what have you been watching this week? In fact, what have you just been watching this week?
Right. Watching this week. Actually, I haven't done much watching. I think I've maybe watched 1 or 2 episodes of House again. And then obviously Arrow, Flash. I'm getting quite excited because tomorrow I can watch the new season of The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, that's back on. Which
will be ace. I keep meaning to catch up with Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but, I haven't quite got around to that point yet. But yeah, that's about it generally. Obviously quite excited for the Arrow and Flash coming back, but before we obviously go into the Flash, I'll say my bit about Arrow. I think Arrow was probably, and this is coming from probably one of the biggest Flash fans in the world, Arrow was probably the better episode. I got back in time to hear most of what you said, Scott, and I agree with some of the points you made, but also I believe that, like Paul said, they're trying to make it more in line with the Flash, but they're also trying to bring in elements from the comics. I don't think he's complete. I mean, I haven't read the Green Arrow comics. This is just going on, what I've heard and hearsay, etc. And basically, I think he's a bit more of a jokey character within the comic books. Yeah. There's a bit more humour in there. So, and I quite enjoyed the humour to it. I mean, obviously, that's where our difference in opinions are. You prefer your darker sort of shows, and that's why you probably preferred Arrow over the Flash. Whereas me, I quite like my upbeat, and I love my comedy side of stuff as well. So, that's why the Flash always was the one I was excited for, and I thought they did really well last season. But I think that they've done really well with Arrow. The opening episode, at least, anyway. I mean, there's some interesting characters brought in. I mean, what are you guys counting as spoilers?
we've not mentioned anything that actually happened within this show. I did kind of spoil last season for Arrow.
Right, okay. If we're going to try and keep it clean,
Yeah.
The new bad guy that they brought in, which I'm sure practically everyone knows anyway, obviously Damien Dark.
Yep.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Ruthless, cold, calculated. It's just so, and the actor's just fantastic, perfect for the role. I don't know the actor's name, and I should really learn it because he's very good, and I think Damien Dark's going to be a fantastic bad guy for this season. I think the whole, I have to agree, Diggle's outfit wasn't what I expected. It's different, and I think it just makes him look like he's got a bigger head than what he actually has. You know, there's this gaping hole in his chin. If someone got underneath him with a knife, they'd easily have him, but, you know, that's besides the point. But I like the new Arrow suit. Definitely more in line with the comics. Again, does it suit Amel? Yeah, probably not as well as maybe, say, season 1 or 2's Arrow suit. But I still think it looks good. According to the other half, anything suits him.
I thought, is that not nothing on him suits him? So
yeah, would that not be nothing on him suits him? Apparently, is the answer I got. As obviously Scott pointed out as well, the cliffhanger at the end. You know,
yes.
Obviously I stayed up a bit later to watch it, and I got into bed and I actually turned around to my other half and said, I don't know how I'm going to sleep. I don't know how I'm going to sleep with the way they've left it.
Yeah, that was an evil way, especially with the line at the bottom of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling it's not going to play out the way that you expect it to, or the way that they've tried to pin it to play out.
Yeah.
Okay, without saying too much, I think that it's going to involve something else.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've lobbed a few theories your way in one of the Facebook chats that we're in. So, you know, that's sort of my theories. But without saying too much, then, you know, I won't spoil it. But yeah, that's really all I've got to add on Arrow. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually, no matter how much I like Flash, I think Arrow had the better of the first of the opening episodes this season.
Okay, so with Flash on the cards there, do you want to kick it off then?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, and if I'm honest, I don't know quite how to say it without the spoilers. Obviously, if you watch Comic-Con, when they did the Flash panel, one of the things that they stated is, you know, that this season Barry is going to be overcome with grief. He's going to want to run everything alone. He's not going to want team members to help him. He's basically
Hey, sounds like Batman.
A little bit, yeah. But he's a lot better than Batman, and he's a lot funnier.
Oh, screw you.
And just basically, everyone's looking to him to be the savior, but he doesn't feel he can fit those boots. That's the sort of series angle that they were going to go for. Which
seems like they're trying to make Flash darker.
In essence, yes. And you'll know what when I say this, Paul, and obviously you will as well, Scott, in the fact that the first story arc, they definitely bring that to life. But after sort of the way the episode panned out, I don't see how they can continue that in the essence of him trying to push everyone away. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Unless something else happens.
Exactly.
Which is the same thing as kind of links into the Arrow episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Zoom's coming. They set that up nicely in the episode. And for anyone who hasn't watched the episode, if they go back and watch the trailer again with the bat symbol, but changed it into a flash symbol, that was just phenomenal. And Cisco's response to that had me in stitches.
Doesn't that have in the book?
Yeah. Where did you come up with that? Well, I think I read it in a comic book. It's just like, you know, that's just ace. But yeah, I mean, the Flash was enjoyable, though not as good as Arrow. But I think as it goes on, I think it will get better, especially when they start introducing Zoom. I mean, obviously, people who keep up with the Flash will know Jay Garrick is coming into it, the original Flash from right back in the day when they started launching the Flash comics. I think they picked a very good actor to do that, and his line in it just gave me shivers. You know, I was just like, yes, that's perfect. So, yeah, I think it was a very good episode. and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. But without going into too many specifics, I can't really say a lot more.
And Scott, what about yourself on The Flash?
Well, contrary to Luke, I thought it was the better of the two opening episodes, to be honest. Perhaps because it was a bit darker, perhaps because I felt they gave it a little bit more substance. Granted, from an action point of view, yeah, it wasn't on the same kind of level as Arrow, but I actually thought it was good that they took time to add this sort of emotional justification for what's coming. I liked that they sort of... I was really annoyed when Flash finished because they left it on a complete cliffhanger, and then they announced at Comic-Con that they were going to be starting this series 6 months later. And I had an impression that they just weren't going to cover what happened and how we got to this season sort of thing, which sort of leads into that grief element that you mentioned earlier, again, without giving the specifics. So I was happy that they went back and sort of covered that a little bit. I think they've set up the new season quite nicely, and I am looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm the same as you. There's very little I can say without giving it away, but I was going to mention the symbol thing. Where did you get that read in a comic? Yeah, we were both the same. We were laughing quite considerably at that. So, yeah.
I overall I enjoyed both episodes for different aspects. It was a case of it was all emotional sort of connections for Flash in comparison to when it's like sort of season 1 was heavy action orientated. I felt that Arrow was all more action orientated with the like bits of quips and things. I wasn't as keen on the quips as I would have liked. So, like some of them, like there was a couple of dark bits with Thea still, but it wasn't to the extent of you can't go from one point to another in quick succession with the character. I don't think, without it like kind of ruining it. The other aspect of it was just they were enjoyable. I'm glad both seasons are back, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to be doing with the rest of both the seasons.
Awesome stuff. Now, normally we'd pass it on to Dan, but Dan's that much of a non-geek that he decides he's not going to watch anything geeky other than Batman.
Well, we've asked Dan about what he watched, so it's fine.
That's not too bad then. That's not too bad. We've heard what he watched, but we can't get his opinion on Arrow or Flash.
Yeah, that's because he's a noob. Oh no,
Yeah,
that's
the other one. Seeing as we've now covered it and we can't really cover much more without going into spoilers, shall we move on to the new little section that I like to call the Grumble Corner?
Yes.
This week in the Grumble Corner, I am going to bring up my topic because I'm selfish and I don't want anyone else to have a turn. So, this week I'm going to talk about microtransactions in games. Now, I'm not talking about microtransactions in the sense of, oh, this game's free to play, but in order to play and get to the higher levels, you've got to start paying a bit, which I have no issue with. You know, if you enjoy the game, you put a bit of money into it, you know, you can open up that last couple of quests or get that extra piece of armor you need or that sort of jazz, that's fine. What really, to quote Family Guy, grinds my gears
I was going to say grinds my gears. You're going to go in there.
Is the fact that developers nowadays decide that they're going to sell you a £45 equivalent $60 or what is it over there, Dan? €60?
€70.
€70 game, and then still make you pay for extra bits. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, to use an example here, Destiny's bringing it in. By the time this cast goes out, it might have already been in place. But they say they're only going to charge you for extras, things like obviously emotes and shaders, that sort of jazz. You know, the little extras that you maybe don't necessarily need, but let's be honest, you're going to see one and go, I really need that. I need to go and spend £2 on this. And then £2 rolls into £4, which rolls into 6, rolls into 10. And before you know it, you've spent a whole £25 gift card on in-game crap. Let's be honest, it happens. Which I really don't agree with. Why can't they just give you that in the sense of, you know, use your glimmer? And it's the same with other games. I believe, if I remember rightly, Forza 5, when that came out, you paid however much for the game. I mean, it came out with the Xbox One, so a few Xbox Ones got bundled with it. Other times you were paying, you know, this is when games just launched, so you're probably still paying £60 for a game. And then they're still saying, well, if you want to earn your XP faster, or you want to earn this faster, or you want this car, you're still going to have to pay X amount. It's getting nearly as silly as DLC. You know, you need to pay this much extra to get a chunk more of the game. And I don't feel that it's a viable option when you're having to pay for a game to then have to pay again in-game to buy little bits. You know, I don't mind DLC. DLC is a way of life, and that's the way it's going to be. And companies are forever going to rinse you out of DLC. But that's a one-off payment. It unlocks the rest of the game up to the point of the next DLC. Why should companies bring microtransactions in to try and make you pay more when you've already paid? I mean, for example, going back to Destiny again, you know, you've paid 40 quid for the game, 40 quid for the next set of expansions. So that's 80 quid straight out. You're then paying 40 quid again, or if not more, for the Taken King. So that's 120 quid you've spent on that game alone, minimum. They're still going to start putting in these things to allow you to buy for, you know, X amount or Y amount. And I believe as well, Halo 5 are going to do it with requisition packs. That was announced this week. They also announced the prices. Halo 5 are going to do it with requisition packs for the Warzone playlist, which again is something I don't agree on. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can earn them. You know, they've said that from the beginning, you can earn them or you can buy them. But it's the same thing where, why are you putting it in? It's the same with Battlefield Hardline with battle packs. You can buy them, you know. But I'm going to start ranting because I know, Scott, you've got a few points and you agree with some of the stuff, you know, with the microtransactions, and well, you don't agree with the microtransactions, but why I've got to grumble with it. So I'm going to pass it over to you, mate, and I'll let you have a bit of a rant.
Yeah, I find it hard to disagree. I understand, as you say, from these sort of free games, you know, you get enticed in, and you know, if you like it, then a lot of time and effort goes into developing these games, even though they're free and perhaps not going to be AAA type titles. I mean, I think, for example, the Simpsons one that emerged, does it tap out? I can't.
Yeah, Simpsons tapped out.
Yeah. So it was like, that was a free game. It was actually really quite good, given what it was, but you could tell that a lot of effort had gone into it, and there were microtransactions attached to that as you went through it, if you wanted to do certain things. That I don't have a problem with, because that, in a way, rewards the developers for their effort building a game that you've enjoyed playing. I don't see the problem with that. But yeah, when it comes to things like these sort of big titles that most people are going to pay for, I mean, one example, and I apologise if I sound like a broken record, because I'm sure I've mentioned this when we discussed DLC way back in the past. There was a game released, not a mainstream game, but it was like a train simulator.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, you mentioned this.
So you could buy this game. I'll give a quick recap just in case most people haven't listened to the previous cast, which I suspect might be the case. You could buy this game for 40 quid, I think it was. I think it was a PC-based game. Happy to be corrected. But Train Simulator was the name of it. And in essence, it's exactly what you'd expect. It is a game that simulates train routes. You build up your engines, your cargo, you take routes, and you try and get the train from point A to point B, similar to the flight simulator idea. It came with X amount of pre-built-in levels, and then for DLC you could buy extra different levels. And I think by the time, if you went through and bought all of the particular DLC that was available, you pay 40 quid for the game, and the DLC totaled up to $2,100. That's how much you could spend buying levels. That in itself was bad enough, but then you could spend even more money if you wanted on these sort of like microtransactions. You could get particular engines that you couldn't get otherwise, like classical engines, particular skins for, or particular paint jobs for your engines and your sort of carriages. I'm thinking, arguably you could end up spending the best part of $3,000 on a video game. Who does that?
Idiot.
I was going to say, Scott, sorry to butt in, but whilst you're talking, I don't know if you're going to cover it, but did you hear about Train Simulator 2016?
No, I must look this up though, because it'll obviously be fantastic.
This is going to be ace. You'll really, really like this. They're going to charge you full price, but it's only going to be an expansion to the game.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so basically all they've done, they've used the same engine, same trains, you'll still get your save data, and then they basically lobbed you a load more stuff.
What excuse
and then
have they
they've
given for
rebranded
that?
it to 2016.
Sounds just kind of like FIFA, to be honest, no?
Yeah,
That's what the FIFA games
basically.
do.
And Call of Duty, in essence.
But please, Scott, feel free to carry on.
I think I was kind of reaching the end of my point, actually. I agree with what you say. It's a ludicrous, nothing more than a money-making exercise. And if people stop paying the money for it, then they'll quickly realise that it's not the way forward. But sadly, it does seem to be a popular way for these companies making even more money, and people do seem to be happy enough to pay £1.60 for a particular camo skin for your gun or a particular cloak. it's madness to me, but so long as people keep doing it, then the companies are going to keep milking it.
Well, it's very true in the sense of, you mean, now you've obviously mentioned camo skins and that sort of stuff. It just reminds me, Call of Duty, and there's no end now. I don't think there's many games that have got a multiplayer platform, modern games anyway, where you're not paying extra for some little in-game thing. I mean, it's just the same as sort of where they split chunks of the game off for DLC at the beginning, for pre-order DLC. That's just as annoying. But one thing I will say, obviously, when you were saying that the free-to-play games and stuff like that, I couldn't agree more with that. If it's a free-to-play game, then by all means, I mean, a prime example for me, it's not something I've bought, purchased content within, but it would be something that I would lob money at if I ever got back into again. And that was the Neverwinter free game, obviously on the Xbox, free-to-play. It was even free to win. You didn't have to pay to think. You could just basically You didn't have to pay to win, sorry. You could just keep doing raids and dungeons and that sort of stuff and just keep building up your stuff. It was, again, on that, and this is coming from a free-to-play title, most of it was aesthetics. It was just, a different mount or a cool new sword. Don't get me wrong, the cool new sword would do extra damage or bow or whatever you have. But, if you carried on going, you'd soon outweigh it with common items that you'd pick up off the floor. So...
Yeah.
In essence, it's a great game, and it's free to play and free to win. You shouldn't have to play. I mean, another example, prime example for the Xbox that's the same, is World of Tanks. That's a fantastic game, and you don't have to put any money into that. It gets you up quicker, and it means the game won't last you as long. But if you like the developers and you want certain tanks, there are certain tanks that you have to buy. If you want these certain tanks and you like what the developer's done, and it's a fantastic game. Brilliant concept, fresh. No one else has ever done it. Then you can give them money, which that to me is a fantastic way of going. I mean, I've played The Simpsons Tapped Out. That's a good game, and like you said, it does seem like a lot of time and effort has gone into making it. I mean, there's one that I'm actually looking forward to that should be coming out soon. I think it's already out on the PC in beta format, but I think it's going to ship to all. Both console and PC at some point early next year, and that's from the guys at World of Tanks, and it's World of Battleships.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's naval battles, and I think if as a consumer you should be given the right to say, okay, I want to pay X amount for this game and then X amount for DLCs and no microtransactions, or you should be given the chance to play the game for free and then purchase what you want as you go along. More to that, though, is an article that I read probably about a week and a half ago now, where one of the top dogs came out from these marketing companies within mobile games, and he actually came out with some very shocking but not that hard to believe truths about the way the free-to-play works within sort of the mobile industry. And that is that when you purchase an item, so for example, let's say, going back to Simpsons Tapped Out, let's say you're a regular person playing it, and you find yourself paying, let's say £5 a week for extra whatever, let's say...
donuts.
Yeah, donuts, that's it. That's the currency. I was trying to think what the currency was. Thank you, Dan. So let's say you're paying £5 a week for extra donuts. The company stores that data on the servers, and they have specialist algorithms and marketing guys and stuff like that that look into that, and they go, okay, well, this guy's paying £5 a week, we need to give him something special. So all of a sudden you'll turn the game on one week and the game will go, oh, this week for your £5 you can get 5 extra donuts, or if you pay £2.50 more, we'll double the amount you're getting instead of you paying a tenner. And it's like, okay, that makes business sense because they're making more money. But it doesn't stop there. It starts twisting more and more the more you look into it. One of the things that they were on about is I think it was an NFL manager game. And what they were actually doing within that was you could buy certain things for your favourite teams, but it didn't just stop at the jerseys or the shorts or the socks or the boots or the ball. It started going silly. Like, you could get your hot dog vendor, or you could get this, or you could get that, all just around your team because they've used your data as you've bought for said team and think, well, we can rinse more money out of him. Let's do this. And then the final thing, which isn't hard to believe either, is that the bloke actually, this isn't an exact quote, but this is basically what he said. He turned around and said, you know those girls on Facebook that have 1,000 friends, you've got no relation to them at all, you don't know them, you've never seen them in your life, but they add you on Facebook. He says, if you ever accept one of them, we've got you. Because that is it's a marketing bot. They use that to basically rinse your profile of information and tailor adverts towards you. So it may not necessarily be in-game items, but these games that have adverts at the bottom of the screen or on the side, or every time a loading screen comes up, they bung an advert in it. They will tailor those adverts to be something you buy so that they can get a cut out of it. That is how it goes in that sort of marketing industry.
Hang on a minute. You just said that they make fake accounts to trick you into giving out your profile information so they know how to market certain products to you.
Correct, yes.
Is that not illegal?
No, not necessarily, no, because you've chosen to accept that person as a friend.
Oh, yeah.
And therefore, let's be honest, once you post stuff on the internet, it never truly goes away, does it? So it's there for them to take as soon as you accept their friend request. You will never know that they've done that. They will do it in such a sly way that you'll have these adverts pop up. It may not be every time. Let's say, for example, obviously I'm a Newcastle fan. It's not going to turn around to me and say, buy a Newcastle jersey for X amount off. Or, to be fair, I'd want it for free at the minute. But, or you buy your season ticket now for 50% off. Or, every advert's not going to be based around that. They'll still throw they'll basically just throw the odd one in amongst other adverts. Yeah. And it's a very crafty, but it's just the way the world works now. And that's something else that grinds my gears, is the fact that companies do that. I mean, I can understand why they do it, but I think it's wrong. But sort of bringing it back round to the point, of microtransactions, it should just be purely in-game thing and not these sort of cosmetic things that have no real meaning. If they're going to be offered to you in a free-to-play game, they should have some sort of purpose. And you shouldn't have your profile rinsed, or they shouldn't find out every single bit of information right down to the colour of your underwear to offer you said product.
Makes you think if the Connect is watching us to find out how to market games.
That's a possibility, but they say that they don't, but you never know, do you? You never know who's got a backdoor to things. But that now I'm starting to sound like a bit of a
conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. So we'll call it that. I mean, Paul, Dan, neither of you have really said anything. Have you got anything to sort of add on the microtransaction situation?
Oh, I think it's a disgusting practice. I agree with everything you guys have said. I think the guy who's sitting on his ass at the top of that ivory tower is not a gamer, doesn't give a damn about the gamers, just gives a damn about his cold hard money, and has basically decided to shovel crap out to us. And unfortunately, people are going to be dumb enough to buy it. I mean, of course, I don't mean in like the free-to-play games, like you said, that's grand because they have to make their money somehow. But in the games we've already paid for, why the hell are people willing to even fall for this crap? I think it's ludicrous, and I don't agree with it at all.
See, I can kind of understand why companies will do sort of microtransactions, because they're doing little bits and pieces that don't really qualify for a full sort of DLC. You've got the people that are not bothered about buying these extras. So, for example, we've mentioned Halo 5's doing microtransactions with rec cards, but it's all meant to be aesthetic cards, so you can't go and buy a gold pack which will give you tanks so that you can win it. It's supposed to be new design on assassinations and things like that, but at the same time you can still earn these during game. There's just the companies know that there is this group of people out within the market that want to have things quicker, faster and easier for themselves to have, rather than having to work to get that. and people will pay money on it. So things like Destiny, you're getting new emotes that's happening in 2 days' time. On Tuesday, it's the 13th. That's launching. So, in all honesty, I'm not bothered. I know I won't buy any of the microtransactions for myself. And if it's more the ones that bug me is it's the pay to win. So if you are free, like say for example you have Halo. We'll take Halo as an example, and they changed that you can go and purchase the top gear and everything, from weapons, vehicles, doesn't matter what, and you can pay. You can walk out with everything, all singing, all dancing. I wouldn't play that game because there's no point. I've paid for the game. I'm not going to get my ass handed to me because I'm not willing to pay to do so. But at the same time, if they're doing it for aestheticness, I don't see an issue with that. It's a case of, yep, I've bought the game. Personally, I don't want to buy that. I don't need to. I can still play the game and enjoy the game as much as I like. Other people do want that thing, and it's evident in from mobile gaming, because I know that you guys have mentioned Simpsons Tapped Out. I've now played that for about 4 years.
Bloody hell.
And the past few months I've drifted out of it completely, but and I've occasionally bought a couple of things because I've had iTunes vouchers, and I don't buy anything else with my iTunes vouchers, so I was like, I'll just play that game. But there's other games out there that you do pay for, and then you have to buy additional things to get further in the game, and they're already there. Now, that I think it's from the sort of mobile gaming that our bigger games companies have went, oh, hang on, we've got this, the mobile gaming group. It's one of the most popular gaming groups around the world for age demographic between, I think it's sort of 5 to 24 is heavily through mobile gaming. I think that stat was actually taken from IGN. They were doing a whole different sort of discussion on, like, is console, is there going to be a generation where the consoles just disappear? Not within our lifetime, probably, because we'll keep that up and going. But overall, they're noticing that microtransactions do work. They work really well. So what you could possibly see is the fact of 6 games down the line, we're going to end up with, you're going to start off with the campaign. To get the multiplayer, you'll buy a bit, and then to get a few extras, you buy a bit more and things like that. But your main part of the game will probably be cheaper. As long as I'm just happy as long as they keep it on. It's not pay to win. If they keep it off pay to win, I don't care, because then I can sit and play to my heart's content without buying any extras. It's your choice whether or not you take that up.
Right. Okay. 2 points I want to throw at you.
Mm-hmm.
One is sort of an agreement with what you said, and one isn't. So I'm going to go with the one isn't first. It's just going back to using an example again. I'm going back to Call of Duty. Obviously, with Advanced Warfare, they brought in the supply drops. Yeah, within the supply drops, you could get weapons and variants of weapons. Now, they obviously aren't just aesthetics. They would give you, say, more damage, better range, that sort of stuff. Does that count as aesthetic, or does that count as pay to win? Do you get, where is the line drawn?
So I would say that for pay to win, gives you better weapons. If it's actually a gun that is better than your loadouts that everybody else starts with. So I've really stopped playing sort of the online multiplayer of Call of Duty for a long time now. But if it's a case of I can go and purchase these crates, they will come in and drop, and they will give me a significantly better gun than the enemy has, because they've not went and purchased it, then that is pay to win.
Right. Okay.
Whereas if it's animations, colours of, so you're getting the same gun, but it's a different pattern that's on it, that's aesthetic.
Yeah. But then to flip that, because I'm trying, although this is technically my grump corner moment, I'm sort of trying to see both sides of the argument.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of these microtransactions could, in essence, give you a better gun, but they're going to come in a supply crate.
Yeah.
So you're never truly going to know what you get. So in essence, in essence, games companies are forcing you to gamble
Yeah.
on what you're going to get.
And casinos
Now-
do really well.
Exactly, it's true, and so do bookies. You never see a broke bookie, do you?
No.
But in that sense, though, would it count as a pay to win because of the fact that, let's say, for example, you open this crate. Now, you could get the gun by opening your standard supply crates that get dropped every so often or so many levels. I never worked out quite how the system worked. But then, obviously, after so long, they brought in the pay-in version, which is just a way to cash in. You know, you could get them in a standard crate, but you're more likely to get them in these special crates that you buy.
Yeah.
You know, does that then still count as a pay to win, or is it merely just an aesthetic? You know, because anyone could get the weapon, but you're more likely if you buy said special crate.
So, like, I don't know the full mechanics of it. How often would you get to be able to drop a special crate in comparison to everybody else's normal crate?
Right. In comparison, how it sort of works now is you can pay X amount of money. I think it's like £2 something for one crate, or you get one dropped. I cannot for the life of me. I never worked it out when you get a crate. I used to think it was every time you leveled up, but it wasn't. You know, there'd be times when I'd go up a level or 2 or 3 on double XP weekends, and I wouldn't get anything. So I really don't know when the supply crates dropped. In essence, you could just go to the marketplace and purchase one.
So, is the crates a case of you can go and these are actually dropped on the field when you're in play?
No, these are bought when you are either sat at your multiplayer menu or within a lobby.
Right. So, if I then bought 30 special crates, you didn't buy any, and you were just waiting on getting one, how much is my chance of getting a better weapon if I've just went and bought 30 in
Well,
comparison to yours?
realistically, most supply crates drop at least one weapon within
Yep.
their items. Not necessarily a better one, but, because the stats differ.
Yeah.
So,
It
for
depends on your
example-
game style, if you're going to use a
Yeah.
shotgun,
Yeah.
machine gun, yeah.
Yeah.
And
But,
it depends. Like, so say for example, everybody starts off with same weapon, but in fact, I'll take you into Halo. If we look at Halo 2, everybody battle rifle. It starts off, everybody's got a battle rifle, but in order for you to win, you have to control the field by controlling the power weapons.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Works the same with Gears.
Right. Not played Gears, so.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I did. So,
same
but
essence.
yeah.
Right, so here's something. Everybody walks into a match. Everybody's got the battle rifle. There is one power weapon on the field, so that whoever gains that power weapon, depending on what one it is, depends on how well it is. But say, for example, the opposition purchase 5 of the best weapons in the game, and just wait for everybody to walk out, and bang, everyone's explosions. That would then be a case of pay to win. There. And with the supply crates, I'm increasing my chance of what I'm going to get. I can then pick and choose whatever gun I then want to have. I'm picking the most optimal thing for myself. I'm not waiting in order to get that gun eventually in the Call of Duty scenario.
Yeah, basically.
That's kind of that's where that's still shown as the pay to win over the just.
So in essence, what we've managed to boil it down to is the fact it's a grey area in that sort of situation. You're gambling, so you could come out lucky, you could not. But in essence, it's a grey area, and for me, that's bad practice.
Yeah. It will continue to go that way, though. That's the issue, because
of course it will.
People will continually to buy them, which then just goes, well, hang on, where's the profit? These companies, they are companies. They need to pay the people that are developing the games. So if the developers want paid good money, they're going to make the game and develop it in however they want. The companies are then going to go, right, let's make more money, which then they turn around to the next developer and go, right, okay, you've built this, you've done that, you've done this, right, give it 6 new skins, we'll send that out as a pack. That's currently what's happening, because they're kind of going, well, we're in it to make money. Everybody is trying to make money in some form or another, whether or not, whatever type of job market you're in. We're just very heavily favoured on gaming. So we see the biggest impact on that. If you were to look at The price of food, up and down, depending on what you're getting. If you go for like 10 cheese slices, you get it for £1.20. And if you don't actually look at the next bit over, you're just like, oh, I'll grab those 10 cheese slices. Whereas for £1.50, you get 20. It's kind of going in that kind of similar, a very, very crude and simplistic version of it, but that's essentially what.
Well, in essence, yeah. If you're going to compare it to something else as well, I suppose you could look at Blu-rays or DVDs. For example, a Blu-ray, you get a standard Blu-ray of a film, the one disc job with the bonus features. You're talking what, 10, 11 quid. You get the Blu-ray with the DVD and the special features, you're talking probably 15. If you get the 3D Blu-ray with the DVD, the special features, you're talking 20 quid.
Yep.
So each time they're adding a little bit more to it, but in essence, you're still getting the same package, apart from obviously when you buy the 3D version, because you can wear silly glasses and watch it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, in essence, that works. But I'm going to move on before we spend too much time obviously talking about the grey area. The second thing this is the part that I agreed with you. One segment is basically fueled by people who are greedy and impatient.
Yes.
They want everything, or they just want it now.
Yeah. Whereas you could work for it and get it anyway. Yes,
exactly. The second thing that I agreed with what you said was, in essence, of if it carries on the way it's going, it could be that you pay so much for the base game, then so much for this, so much for that, so much for this, just add on little bits here and there. And I wouldn't mind that. If I'm not gonna sit here and have people turn around to me and say, "Oh, you're living in the past." I'm not living in the past, but in essence, if someone was to turn around to me and say, "Okay, right, this game's here, it's been developed, it's new on the market, it's 25 quid." Okay, right, what do I get with it? Well, you get the single player, the full single player campaign, and you get access to the multiplayer with, say three custom classes, so many weapons, and access to 8 out of a possible 16 maps.
Yeah.
If you want the rest, you buy them as you go. That wouldn't bother me, because I could do that. And I think microtransactions, they're very clever, because people aren't going to miss £2.50 here or £3 there. Whereas, for example, sorry, I'm going back to Destiny. I'm not bashing it here. I'm just saying that Destiny, the 2 expansions together was 40 quid. The original 2 expansions. Then the new ones, again, 40, 45 quid. So it is basically, to bring a microtransaction into there seems like it's just trying to rob you blind. Whereas if it was a game where it turned around to me and said, well, you can get this for 25, 30 quid. So you're paying less than the recommended retail of a standard game, but then you can clock up, because you might find that actually, if you sell your game at 30 quid, but then only give them half the multiplayer and they have to buy the other half as and what they please and what they want from it, you'll find that the consumer's probably still paying just as much as a full price game, but still only probably getting 3/4 of the content. But the consumer won't mind because they've got the bits they want.
Yeah. As long as you get the bit that you want,
that would work.
Yeah. And like
it's kind of like a make your own adventure book.
Not to the extent, because you're still getting the main part that you want. If you want everything all singing, all dancing, you can go and buy it. The thing is, if you look at sort of Destiny, and just because you were talking about the cost of the expansions, now Activision had the one goal is to match what Blizzard have done with World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo. They're sort of monthly paid for subscriptions. But they couldn't really turn around to console players who already pay a yearly subscription, monthly subscription, depending on how you choose to go that action. Because look at the outcry that they had with Elder Scrolls Online. There was supposed to be a monthly subscription. Now, there still is. You can go and purchase that and you get additional extras, you get all the fancy stuff, but you don't get any further in the game. Everybody still gets the same bit of the game and still can play that part. But what they're looking to do is that Destiny is trying to compete with a sort of a monthly cost, and the only way to do that is to have the expansions at the rate they are. And if you split that out over the year, it works out to be the same as what anybody would pay for World of Warcraft or these other online multiplayer games. The microtransactions, I would have said, oh, that's terrible, they're bringing that, but no, not really. If you again, the reason why I go to World of Warcraft is I've played World of Warcraft for years. So I've stopped in the past like sort of 2-3 years now, but they've got microtransactions. You can purchase mounts, pets. You can even now, depending on how you play it, you can actually get tokens to pay for your now subscription. So if you are heavily into it and you can gold farm and things like that, you can pay for your subscription by doing this. But you can also purchase them. All Destiny's doing is going, right, okay, so we make people pay a big lump sum twice or once a year, split that over the cost of the year, and they're paying a monthly subscription. And then we'll give them these little bit extras if you want to go and buy it. So for myself, I've got everything that I want to have from that game. I'm not going to go and purchase being able to bow, get my character to bow. Big deal. It's that kind of... Who wants to buy that, and why are you buying that?
A priest.
To stand out from the crowd, I suppose, more than anything. Again, it's the being greedy, I suppose, or being special.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've sort of covered microtransactions enough. I mean, unless obviously Dan or Scott, you've got anything to say about it.
No, I'm good.
Nope.
Okay, so I suppose we should probably call this a wrap because we've been yabbering long enough. I'll say goodbye first. It's been a pleasure, and I'll let you guys squabble amongst yourselves on who you want to say bye to first.
I want to say bye to Santa Claus.
Okay, there we go. So bye to Santa. I'll rephrase that. I'll let you lot squabble amongst yourselves on who's going to say bye first.
Okay, see you later, guys.
I'm going to say bye quickly because the Patriots game's just started and I've got things to do, so good evening.
Alright guys, thanks for listening again. This is Non-Geek signing out. See you next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Bye.